On June 20th, an autopsy was performed on the body of Elena Katherine Moore at the Medical University of South Carolina in Charleston. The coroner expected the examination to answer the most basic question in this case. It didn't. The autopsy found no traumatic injury, no bruising, no lacerations, no gunshot wounds, no stab wounds, no blunt force trauma, no strangulation, no external injuries of any kind. A 39-year-old personal trainer, a woman whose entire professional life was built around physical resilience, found dead in the woods off Old Cherokee Road, and her body showed no sign of having been touched. I have been sitting with this finding for days, and the thing I keep coming back to is not what the autopsy found. It is what the autopsy didn't find, and what that absence opens. Because the absence of external injuries does not mean the absence of what killed her. It means one entire category of possible causes has been eliminated. And another category, far harder to prove, far more unsettling, has taken its place. The coroner ordered 3 specific additional tests. Not because the answer was obvious, because the answer is invisible. The visible injuries would have answered the question. Their absence changes it entirely. The more I have looked at this case, the more I believe the investigation does not begin on June 11th. It begins weeks before that. And the autopsy, the thing that was supposed to end the mystery, may have just told us where to start looking. Every channel covering this case is building toward a suspect. This one is not. This is an investigation into what was happening to Elena Moore before she disappeared. The confirmed medical detail nobody is making the centerpiece. The 3 forensic tests now running in Charleston. And the single confirmed fact about the night of June 11th that changes how every other question gets asked. Subscribe. And if you are following this case, I want to know before we start, which part of this investigation has been bothering you the most? Drop it in the comments. I will be reading every one. Elena Katherine Moore was 39 years old, a personal fitness trainer at Wolf's Fitness Center in Lexington, South Carolina. She bartended at multiple locations, worked at CVS as a pharmacy technician, not one job. 3. A person who showed up. Her friends describe her in specific terms, not the vague way people talk after tragedy. Specific, strong-minded, the person who lifted everyone around her, the friend you called when things were falling apart because she had a way of making them feel manageable. Sandra Campbell had known Elena for over 10 years. Her words. "We're really close, like tell each other everything. She's been that person for me for a long time." Elena trained clients in the mornings. Her job was literally helping other people become stronger. Whatever was weighing on her in the weeks before she disappeared, she kept showing up for them. She posted on social media every single day, not casually, consistently. A rhythm, a heartbeat, a baseline that everyone around her came to expect. When a woman who never misses a day goes completely silent for an entire month, her friends noticed immediately. They noticed, they worried, and not one of them fully understood what they were watching. I want to ask you something before we go further. If someone you were close to, someone with a consistent daily online presence, went completely silent for a month, what would you do? Tell me. Because the answer to that question is part of what makes this case so hard to process. Most people following this case, and I was one of them until I sat with the evidence longer, believe the mystery starts on June 11th. Elena signs into Planet Fitness. She disappears. Her body is found 6 days later. That is the story every other channel is telling. I was ready to tell it the same way. Then I started mapping the documented evidence backward from June 11th. And the picture that emerged was different. The mystery did not begin when Elena disappeared. It began when she changed. And the woman who walked into that Planet Fitness on the evening she disappeared was not the same woman her friends had known for years. Something happened. Something visible. Something documented on multiple cameras across multiple days. And whatever changed Elena Moore in those final weeks is now what investigators are trying to reconstruct. Because the autopsy has established that the answer to what killed her does not live on the surface of her body. It lives somewhere else entirely. Approximately 30 days before June 11th, Elena Moore's social media went silent. Lauren Beasley, a close friend, told Fox News Digital. She is very active on social media, so her going radio silent for the last month is out of character. Not slow, not reduced, silent. Around the same period, Elena had a brief hospital stay that led to a placement at 3 Rivers, a mental health facility in the Columbia area. This comes from multiple sources but has not been officially confirmed by the facility. She was admitted. She was released. She returned to daily life in the days before June 11th. On May 31st, she was at a brunch with Sandra Campbell and other friends. Campbell noticed something immediately. Elena kept getting up, kept looking toward the windows. Not casually. Watching. Like she expected someone outside. At the end of the brunch, Elena pulled Sandra aside and whispered something. She was scared for her life. She actually said those words to me. 11 days later, she was dead. I kept asking myself, what connects these events? The silence, the hospitalization, the fear, the Ring camera footage of her confused at a stranger's door on June 4th, the missed call to Sandra that same day. Each one, alone, could be explained. Together, they traced something that was building inside Elena's life for weeks before anyone realized how serious it was. The brunch was May 31st. The Ring footage was around June 4th. The missed call was June 4th. She disappeared June 11th. If you were investigating this case, what would you focus on first in those 11 days? Tell me. When I first read the police statement about Planet Fitness, I almost skipped over it. Elena signed into the gym at 6:40 p.m. Standard detail, background fact. Then I stopped. Because Lexington Police P.O. Missy Silcox confirmed something to the Post and Courier that I had to read twice. Elena Moore did not work out. She used the shower facilities, and then she left. Wait, a personal trainer, a woman whose professional identity was built around fitness, who worked at Wolf's Fitness Center and trained clients who called her a lifesaver. She walked into a gym and did not touch the gym floor. I sat with this for a long time, and the more I thought about it, the more it changed how I read the entire evening. Sandra Campbell confirmed that around the time of the May 30th to 1st brunch, Elena was staying with a friend named Jersey. She had been displaced from her own home. If she had been living out of someone else's house for days, Planet Fitness was not a fitness destination. It was a practical one, the most accessible private shower available to her. But here is what does not resolve. A shower takes 20 minutes. She signed in at 6:40 p.m. She appeared on surveillance at 9:17 p.m. That is 2.5 hours, a 20-minute shower. Then 2 hours and 10 minutes of something. What do you think she was doing during that time? Was she waiting for someone, hiding from someone, trying to figure out where to go next? I genuinely do not know. And I have been going back and forth on this since I first mapped the timeline. Help me think this through. When the toxicology results come back, when SLED releases a public statement, when anything in this investigation moves, we go through it together. Subscribe. Let's keep going. 2 hours and 17 minutes. That is the gap between a 20-minute shower and the surveillance footage at the Publix parking lot. There is no publicly confirmed sighting of Elena during those 2 hours. No named interaction. No confirmed location between the gym and the parking lot 2.5 miles away. Something about this gap keeps pulling me back. If Elena was displaced from her home, staying with a friend, where was she going after that shower? Did she have a plan for the evening? Was she meeting someone? Was someone supposed to pick her up? Silcox told USA Today that Elena had a phone at some point, but investigators were not certain whether she still had it when she disappeared. Cell carriers take time responding to warrants. If her phone was active during those 2 hours, cell tower data could trace her movements with the precision no surveillance camera can match. The investigation has that data. The public does not. If you had to reconstruct what happened during those 2 hours and 17 minutes, based on everything you know about Elena's situation that week, what is your best read? Because this gap is the center of June 11th, and nobody I have seen has sat with it long enough. Sandra Campbell confirmed something on Brian Enton Investigates that connects the friend testimony to the forensic evidence in a way I have not seen any other channel fully examine. Elena Moore had a heart condition. Campbell did not mention it as a separate fact. She mentioned it in the same breath as the fear explanation, pairing the two while disputing the mental health theory. The panting in the Ring doorbell footage, the heavy breathing that alarmed multiple friends, Campbell said specifically. Elena's clients can tell you that's not what she looks like in the gym when she's even working out hard. She was attributing the physical symptoms to fear, and she named the heart condition in the same sentence. Here is what the medical literature establishes. And I want to be precise, because the medical community watching this case is the audience that holds everyone accountable. Stress cardiomyopathy, sometimes called Takotsubo cardiomyopathy, occurs when extreme emotional or physical stress floods the body with stress hormones at levels that temporarily overwhelm the heart's main pumping chamber. The chamber balloons. It loses its ability to pump effectively. In severe cases, the result is fatal. In someone with a pre-existing cardiac condition, the threshold is lower. The same level of stress that a healthy heart could absorb can become lethal in a heart already compromised. Fatal arrhythmic episodes present another possibility. Sudden disruptions in heart rhythm can strike without warning in people with underlying cardiac vulnerabilities. They leave no bruises, no marks. They can happen in minutes, and they are exactly what histological studies are designed to detect, by examining heart tissue at the cellular level for signs of acute cardiac stress. The coroner ordered histological studies specifically. Does that, combined with the confirmed heart condition, change how you read the autopsy finding of no external injuries? Tell me what you think those two facts mean together. If you are still with me at this point, you are not just watching a case update. You are working through the same questions I am. And these questions are not finished when the toxicology comes back. When the histological studies reveal what the cardiac tissue shows. When SLED speaks publicly, we go through every result together. Subscribe so you are here when that happens. The coroner ordered 3 tests, not 1, 3, and the specificity of that order kept bothering me until I understood what it meant. Histological studies examine tissue at the microscopic level. When a pathologist suspects a cardiac cause of death, they look for it in the heart tissue itself. Inflammation patterns, cellular death markers, structural abnormalities invisible to the naked eye in a standard examination. The toxicology panel asks a different question entirely. Were any substances present in Elena's system at the time of death? Prescription medications, over-the-counter compounds, anything that could interact with a heart condition to produce a fatal event. Certain psychiatric medications carry documented cardiac risk profiles. SSRIs, antipsychotics, and benzodiazepines all have cardiac interactions that become more dangerous in patients with pre-existing heart conditions. The medical records review establishes the baseline. What specific heart condition did Elena have? What medications was she prescribed? Were her treating doctors aware of the cardiac history? If the cardiologists did not know about the psychiatric admission, or the psychiatrists did not know about the heart condition, that gap itself becomes a forensic question. All 3 tests ordered simultaneously, not sequentially. What does that tell you about how investigators are thinking? Are they casting a wide net, or do they already have a theory they are testing? I keep going back and forth. This case has 2 competing narratives, and they collided in real time on live television. On one side, Sandra Campbell, Elena's best friend of over 10 years, the woman who heard "scared for my life" at the brunch table. Campbell has described a marriage she characterizes as isolating. She says she witnessed firsthand how Slice spoke to Elena behind closed doors. She alleges she gave up a concert with Elena because Elena could not tolerate being near her own husband that evening. On the other side, private investigator Henry Dukes, working on behalf of Slice's family. Dukes stated publicly that the family had no concerns about the marriage, that if Elena's situation had risen to the level of life being in danger, it would have been addressed. Brannon Slice has made no public statements. He is not a person of interest, confirmed by Lexington PD. He is entitled to the full presumption of innocence. Now here's what happened when those 2 narratives met. Dukes appeared on camera dismissing the marital concerns. Campbell was watching. She called Dukes while he was still on air. She told Brian Enton, "You didn't talk to me about anything," Dukes responded. "So, ma'am, this is for Lexington County to have control over." Campbell refused to back down. She was not guessing. She was the woman who sat across from Elena at a brunch table 11 days before Elena died. 2 accounts from people with direct connection to the same situation. They cannot both be fully accurate. Which one fits the documented evidence better? The disorientation, the silence, the fear, the missing month. I genuinely do not know which is right. Tell me where you land. Something about the search timeline kept nagging at me. I want to walk through it because I think it matters more than most coverage has acknowledged. On June 15th, Lexington PD, SLED, and the Department of Natural Resources conducted a detailed search of the wooded areas along Common Farm Lane, behind the Lowe's and Planet Fitness, near where Elena was last seen. Drones. Foot searches, Chief Green stated. No trace of Ms. Moore was found. 2 days later, a civilian tip pointed investigators to a wooded area near Lakeside Middle School, further along Old Cherokee Road. At 2:48 p.m. on June 17th, a body was found matching Elena's clothing description. I want to be precise about what I am and am not saying. The area where Elena was found is a different section of woods from the one searched on June 15th, within walking distance of the public's, but not the same area the drones covered. What forensic analysis of decomposition will help establish is how long Elena's body had been in that specific location. If the evidence suggests she was there from the night of June 11th, the timeline fits. If it suggests she was there for fewer than 6 days, the investigation changes fundamentally. The drone search on June 15th found nothing. The body was found June 17th, further down the road. Does that timeline work for you? Or does it raise questions about when her body arrived at that location? I want your honest read. When SLED releases the toxicology, when the histological studies come back, we go through every result. Subscribe. I need to bring everything together, because there is a realization the evidence builds toward, and it is not about any individual. It is about what investigators are now looking for. The autopsy ruled out visible violence. That is specific and significant. Elena Moore was not beaten, not strangled, not shot, not stabbed. Every form of violence that leaves a mark has been eliminated. The visible injuries would have answered the question. Their absence changes it entirely. Because what the 3 tests are looking for is the category of death that kills without leaving marks, the category that requires a microscope, a chemistry panel, and a complete medical history to detect. And here is the realization I have not been able to let go of. If someone knew about Elena Moore's heart condition, and understood that extreme fear or stress can trigger a fatal cardiac event in a compromised heart, they would also understand something else. They would not need a weapon. They would need knowledge. Knowledge that confronting her in an isolated location at a moment of extreme terror, with no phone, no vehicle, no one around, could produce a fatal outcome without requiring any physical contact at all. The fear itself could be sufficient. The absence of external injuries confirms nothing about that scenario. It eliminates one method and opens another. One that is far harder to prove, but one that the coroner has ordered the specific forensic tools to investigate. Does that framing, fear as a mechanism, not just an emotion, change how you think about what happened on June 11th? Tell me your honest read. Sandra Campbell missed a call from Elena on June 4th. The same day the Ring camera captured Elena confused at a stranger's door. The same day Elena appeared disoriented near the shopping center. The same period that likely connects to the hospital visit and Three Rivers admission. Elena called on the day her world was collapsing. Sandra did not pick up. She has channeled that missed call into the most aggressive public advocacy this case has seen. She has disputed the mental health narrative at every opportunity. She confirmed the heart condition. She revealed the concert incident. She called Henry Dukes on live television. She has not stopped. She was the person other people called. On June 4th, she was the one calling. She needed someone to answer. What Campbell knows is that Elena's heart condition and the fear she expressed are connected, that the fear on May 31st was specific and grounded, and that whatever the 3 tests find will either confirm or challenge what she has been saying from the beginning. She is still fighting for Elena. The laboratory is still running tests, and Sandra is still waiting for the results that will tell her whether her friend's fear and her friend's heart were, in the end, the same story. I have gone back over this case more times than I can count. Every time, I end up stuck in the same places. So before I let you go, I need your help with something. 1. The autopsy found no external injuries. Does that make you more likely to believe Elena died from a cardiac event, more likely to believe toxic exposure, or more likely to believe something else entirely? And what is your reasoning? Because I keep changing my answer. 2. She went to Planet Fitness. She showered. She did not work out. She had been displaced from her home. What do you think she was doing for the 2 hours and 17 minutes between the end of that shower and the surveillance footage at 9:17 p.m.? I still do not have a read I am confident in. 3. Sandra Campbell says Elena was scared for her life. Henry Duke says the marriage difficulties were private and manageable. These are two people with direct knowledge of the same situation. Which account fits the documented evidence better? The disorientation, the silence, the fear, the missing month. Help me figure out which picture holds up. 4. If the toxicology comes back clean and histology shows a cardiac stress event, is that enough for a criminal investigation to proceed? Or does no external injuries plus cardiac cause equal natural death, regardless of the circumstances? Because the legal answer and the moral answer may not be the same thing. 5. The drone search on June 15th found nothing. Elena's body was found June 17th in a different section of woods. Does that timeline add up, or does it raise questions you think investigators should be asking? Every one of those answers matters. Not because I am trying to generate engagement, because I genuinely do not have confident answers to any of them. And the conversation this community builds around this case is part of what keeps it from fading. Elena Katherine Moore was 39 years old, a personal trainer who showed up for clients on her worst days, a woman who held 3 jobs and kept routines and posted something every single day until she stopped. She told her best friend she was scared for her life 11 days before she died. The autopsy found nothing to explain how she died. 3 tests are running in a laboratory in Charleston right now: histological studies, toxicology, medical records review. The visible injuries would have answered the question. Their absence has changed it entirely. 3 tests are now looking for what the naked eye could not find. Whatever they reveal will determine what kind of case this is, and whether what Elena's friends have been saying from the beginning was right all along. When those results come back, when SLED releases findings, when this investigation moves, Crime Deepcut will be here. Subscribe, stay with this. And for anyone who knew Elena, anyone who is watching, anyone who is carrying the weight of this case the way Sandra is, this community is not going to let this become a forgotten headline. We stay on it until there are answers.